I've been a park ranger at Cumberland Gap National Historical Park for 17 years. That's a long time to spend in these ancient mountains, long enough to see things that would make most people quit after their first week. I'm writing this because I'm retiring next month, and someone needs to know what really happens in these woods after the sun goes down. Someone needs to understand why we have the rules we do. My name is Marcus Webb, and I'm 52 years old. I've spent most of my adult life patrolling 24,000 acres of wilderness that straddles Kentucky, Virginia, and Tennessee. Beautiful country during the day, rolling mountains covered in oak and hickory, trails that wind through gaps where pioneers once walked, caves that descend into the earth like open mouths. But at night, it's different. At night, the Appalachian wilderness becomes something else entirely. When I started this job in 2008, I was fresh out of the military, eager to spend my days in nature instead of in desert combat zones. I thought I'd seen the worst humanity and the world had to offer. I was wrong. My training officer was a man named Dale Pritchett, 63 years old, with skin like worn leather and eyes that had seen too much. On my first day, before he showed me how to check permits or identify poisonous plants, he sat me down in the ranger station and slid a laminated card across the table. "Read this," he said. "Memorize it. Follow it. No exceptions." The card contained 7 rules. Never investigate voices calling for help after sunset, no matter how real they sound. If you hear your name spoken by someone you can't see, don't respond. Leave the area immediately. Avoid the old settlement area past Pinnacle Overlook between dusk and dawn. If you find fresh flowers arranged in a circle on the trail, do not step inside the circle. Should you encounter someone hiking alone after 9 p.m., do not engage. Report their location and description, then move away. Never follow a child into the woods, regardless of the circumstances. If you see lights moving through the forest in a pattern, 3 short, 2 long, repeated, return to your vehicle and leave immediately. I looked up at Dale, expecting him to crack a smile, to tell me it was some kind of hazing ritual for new rangers. He didn't smile. "You think I'm messing with you," he said. It wasn't a question. "Sir, let me tell you about Ranger Kevin Marks. Good man, been here 8 years. 2 years ago, he was on evening patrol near the Hensley settlement. Heard a little girl crying, saying she was lost. Kevin had a daughter about the same age as the voice. He radioed in that he was going to investigate." Dale's jaw tightened. "We found his truck the next morning. Keys in the ignition, radio still on, door wide open. His flashlight was on the ground about 30 yards into the woods, still working. We never found Kevin. Search and rescue combed these mountains for 3 weeks. Nothing. Like he just vanished. Maybe he fell into a cave system, or..." "We found his notebook," Dale interrupted. "It was on the hood of his truck, which was strange because it should have been in his pocket. He'd written one sentence, 'It's not a little girl.' That was it." I felt cold despite the warm autumn air filtering through the open window. "Every ranger who's worked here long enough has stories," Dale continued. "Some of us have seen things. All of us have heard things. These mountains are old, Marcus. Older than the trees, older than the trails. The Cherokee won't even come to certain parts of this park, and they've been here for thousands of years. Whatever's out there in the dark, it's not something we can fight or reason with. So we have rules. You follow them, you go home to your family. You break them." He shrugged. "Well, we'll probably find your truck." For the first few years, I followed those rules religiously. I saw and heard things that tested my resolve: distant screams that sounded human but wrong somehow, lights moving through the trees in impossible patterns, shadows that moved against the wind. Once, during a twilight patrol, I heard my mother's voice calling my name from deep in the woods. My mother had been dead for 5 years. I got in my truck and left, hands shaking on the steering wheel. I became good at my job. I helped lost hikers, educated visitors about leave no trace principles, monitored wildlife, maintained trails. During the day, I could almost convince myself that the rules were just superstitious nonsense, folklore kept alive by isolation and imagination. But when the sun set and the mountains filled with shadows, I knew better. I always made sure I was back at the station or in my truck before full dark. Then I met Sarah. She was a wildlife photographer from Nashville, up here to shoot the fall colors and document black bears preparing for hibernation. She came into the ranger station one September morning, all bright eyes and enthusiasm, asking about the best locations for bear photography. I spent 2 hours with her, going over maps, discussing bear behavior, explaining safety protocols. She laughed at my jokes. I laughed at hers. When she left, I watched her drive away and realized I was smiling for the first time in months. She came back the next day with coffee and questions about the park's history. Then the next day, and the next. By the end of the week, I'd agreed to show her some of the less traveled areas where bears were more active. I told myself it was just part of my job, keeping visitors safe. But I knew better. We married the following spring in a small ceremony at the park. Dale was my best man. You found a good one, he told me, clapping me on the shoulder. Just make sure you keep her away from here after dark. Make sure she understands the rules. I did tell Sarah about the rules, but I made the mistake of presenting them as local folklore, interesting stories to tell around a campfire. I didn't emphasize the absolute necessity of following them. I didn't tell her about Kevin Marks or the things I'd heard in the dark. I thought I was protecting her from needless fear. Instead, I failed to give her the fear that would have kept her safe. For 3 years, we were happy. Sarah continued her photography work, and I continued my rounds through the park. We bought a small house just outside the park boundaries, close enough that I could be on duty quickly if needed, far enough that Sarah didn't feel isolated. We talked about having kids. We talked about growing old together in these mountains. We talked about everything except the rules and why they existed. 3 months ago, on a humid July evening, Sarah called me during my shift. She'd been photographing wildflowers near the Pinnacle overlook and had stayed later than planned, chasing the golden hour light. Her voice was excited, breathless. Marcus, you won't believe what I found. There's this old foundation, looks like it was a cabin or something. It's covered in the most beautiful wildflowers, purple and white, arranged almost in a circle. I've never seen anything like it. I'm going to set up for some shots. Ice filled my veins. Sarah, where exactly are you? Just past Pinnacle overlook, maybe half a mile on that unmarked trail you showed me. The one that... Sarah, listen to me very carefully. Do not step inside the circle of flowers. Do not take pictures of it. Get back to your car right now. What? Marcus, you're being weird. It's just flowers. Sarah, please. Trust me. It's going to be dark soon. You need to leave. Now. There was a pause. I could hear wind rustling through trees, the distant call of a crow. You're serious? Deadly serious. Get in your car and go home. I'll explain everything when I see you. Okay, she said slowly. Okay, I'm walking back to the car now. But you're going to tell me what this is about. I promise. Just get home safe. I love you, weirdo. I love you too. She hung up. I stared at my phone, relief washing over me. Then I looked at the time, 7:47 p.m. The sun would set in about 30 minutes. She had plenty of time to get to her car and drive home. Everything would be fine. I'd tell her everything that night about the rules, about Kevin Marks, about the things that walked these mountains after dark. No more protecting her from the truth. At 8:15, my phone rang. Sarah. Hey, I'm almost to the car, she said. But Marcus, there's someone else out here. I think they might be lost or hurt. My blood went cold. What do you mean? There's a person standing on the trail ahead of me, maybe 50 yards. They're just standing there. They haven't moved since I first saw them. I called out to ask if they need help, but they didn't answer. Should I try to? Sarah, what's this person wearing? Dark clothes, I think. It's hard to tell in this light. They're just a silhouette, really. But they must need help, right? Nobody just stands in the woods like that unless something's wrong. Sarah, you need to listen to me very carefully. I was already moving toward my truck, keys in hand. Do not approach that person. Do not speak to them again. Turn around and take a different route back to your car. Any route, even if it's longer. Marcus, what the hell is going on? If someone needs help. They don't need help. Please, Sarah. Trust me. Go a different way. Another pause. Longer this time. Okay. Okay, I'm turning around. There's another trail that loops back, I think. But you need to explain this to me because you're really scaring me. I will. Just focus on getting back to your car. I was in my truck now, peeling out of the parking lot, radio in hand calling for any other rangers in the area. Dale responded immediately. I told him where Sarah was, what she'd seen. Jesus Christ, Marcus. That's deep in the bad zone. I'm heading that way now, but I'm 20 minutes out. I'm 15 minutes away. I'm going in even if it's after dark. Marcus. I'm going, Dale. She's my wife. Then follow the rules as best you can. And Marcus. Be prepared for anything. I drove faster than I've ever driven those narrow mountain roads, my high beams cutting through the gathering darkness. I tried calling Sarah twice. She didn't answer. I told myself her phone battery had died, or she'd put it away to focus on hiking, or she was already safe in her car and driving out of range of cell towers. I didn't believe any of those explanations. I reached the Pinnacle Overlook parking area at 8:43 p.m. The sun had set. Twilight was fading fast. Sarah's Subaru was there, alone in the lot. The driver's door was unlocked. Her camera bag was in the passenger seat. Her phone was on the dashboard, screen dark. I grabbed my high-powered flashlight, my radio, and my pack. I knew I was breaking the rules. I knew I might not come back. But Sarah was out there, and I couldn't leave her. The trail was dark, illuminated only by my flashlight beam. The forest was too quiet, no insects, no birds settling for the night, no rustling of small animals. Just silence and the sound of my own breathing. I called Sarah's name. My voice seemed to disappear into the trees, swallowed up before it could carry. I found the first sign of her 15 minutes in, her water bottle, lying on the side of the trail, cap still on. She never littered. She would never have dropped this accidentally. 50 yards further, I found one of her hiking boots. My hands were shaking now, flashlight beam wavering. I knew I should turn back, call for search and rescue at first light, follow the protocols. But I kept walking, kept calling her name, kept following the trail deeper into the darkness. That's when I heard her voice. Marcus. Marcus, I'm here. I'm lost. Please help me. It came from off the trail, to my right, maybe 30 yards into the dense forest. It sounded exactly like Sarah. The same slight Nashville accent, the same pitch and tone. But I remembered the rules. I remembered Kevin Marks and the little girl who wasn't a little girl. It's so dark, Marcus. I'm scared. Please come find me. I gripped my flashlight until my knuckles ached. I wanted more than anything to crash through those trees, to follow her voice, to find her and bring her home. But something was wrong. Sarah was terrified of the dark. If she was really lost in these woods at night, she would be panicking, crying, not speaking in that calm, measured tone. Marcus, why aren't you helping me? Don't you love me anymore? The voice was changing subtly, becoming slightly off-pitch. Like a recording played at the wrong speed. I backed away from the tree line, keeping my flashlight pointed into the forest. For just a moment, my beam caught something standing between two oak trees, a silhouette, human-shaped but wrong somehow, proportions not quite right, standing impossibly still. I ran. I made it back to the parking lot, chest heaving, and found Dale waiting beside his truck, shotgun in hand. He took one look at my face and shook his head. You heard something. Sarah's voice. But it wasn't her. It wasn't her, Dale. No, he agreed quietly. It wouldn't be. We organized a search party at first light. 30 people combed those woods for 5 days. We found Sarah's other boot, her jacket, and her wedding ring carefully placed on a flat stone in a circle of white wildflowers near that old foundation. We never found Sarah. The investigation ruled it a disappearance, likely a tragic hiking accident. People get lost in the wilderness. People fall into ravines or cave systems. These things happen, even to experienced hikers. The official file suggested she'd become disoriented in the fading light and wandered off the trail. I know better. I've been back to work for the past month. I have to finish out my time before retirement. Dale took early retirement the week after Sarah disappeared. He'd seen enough, he said. The new rangers ask me questions sometimes, about the strange rules they've heard about, the folklore. I show them the laminated card. I tell them to follow the rules, no exceptions. Some of them listen. Some of them think I'm just a grief-stricken old man clinging to superstition. But last week, something happened that I can't explain, something that won't let me sleep. I was doing evening rounds, making sure all the day hikers had cleared out before dark. I was at the Pinnacle Overlook parking lot, about to head back to the station, when I saw a woman standing at the edge of the tree line. She was facing the forest, her back to me, wearing clothes I recognized, jeans, a red fleece jacket, hiking boots. Sarah's clothes. I froze. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to follow the rules, to get out of there. But I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The woman turned around. It looked like Sarah. Same dark hair, same build, same face. But the eyes were wrong, too dark, too empty, like looking into deep wells. And when it smiled, the expression didn't reach those eyes, didn't create the little wrinkles at the corners that Sarah's real smiles always made. "Hello, Marcus," it said in Sarah's voice. "I've missed you." "You're not Sarah." The smile widened, becoming something inhuman. "Are you sure? How do you know? Maybe I got lost that night and I've been trying to find my way back. Maybe I've been calling for you, but you won't come help me. You won't break your precious rules. What are you?" It tilted its head at an unnatural angle. "Does it matter? I could be your wife. I could come home with you. We could grow old together in these mountains, just like you planned. All you have to do is take my hand. Walk with me into the woods. Follow me, Marcus. Just this once, break the rules." Every part of me wanted to. God help me, some part of me still wants to. To believe that somehow Sarah had survived, that she'd found her way back, that I could have her again. But I saw movement behind the thing wearing Sarah's face. More shapes between the trees, watching. Waiting. "No," I whispered. The smile disappeared. The thing's face went blank, expressionless. "Then I'll keep calling. Every night, Marcus. With her voice. With her face. Until you answer. Until you follow." It turned and walked into the forest, Sarah's form disappearing into the darkness between the trees. I heard her voice calling my name, growing fainter, begging me to follow. I got in my truck and left. Now I'm here, writing this, trying to document what happened. Trying to warn whoever comes after me. The rules exist for a reason. They were written in blood, learned through loss, passed down through generations of rangers who saw what walks these mountains after sunset. I broke the rules once, just by going into those woods that night. And even though I turned back, even though I didn't follow that thing wearing my wife's face, I still lost everything that mattered. I have 3 more weeks until retirement. Then I'm leaving these mountains forever, moving somewhere flat and populated, somewhere the darkness is kept at bay by streetlights and the company of neighbors. Somewhere I won't hear Sarah's voice calling from the tree line every night, begging me to follow, to break the rules just one more time. But here's what terrifies me most, part of me doesn't want to leave. Part of me wants to go back to Pinnacle Overlook, to wait for that thing wearing Sarah's face, to take its hand and follow it into the darkness. Because even if it's not really her, it looks like her. Sounds like her. And maybe, after everything, that would be enough. I understand now why Kevin Marks left his truck with the door open, why he walked into those woods knowing he'd never come back. I understand the choice he made. I just hope I'm strong enough to make a different one. If you're reading this and you're planning to visit Cumberland Gap National Historical Park, please, follow the rules. Don't investigate strange voices. Don't follow figures in the darkness. Don't believe that the person calling your name is who they claim to be. The mountains are beautiful during the day. But at night, they belong to something else. Something old and hungry and patient. Something that now knows my name. I'm writing this during my last week. Tomorrow, I have to do one final patrol. Dale called me yesterday, his voice tight with worry. 3 hikers are overdue. They were supposed to be back by sunset. They're not answering their phones. I told him I'd go at first light. He said the families are desperate, begging us to start searching now, at night. I told him no. Rules are rules. But I can hear Sarah's voice outside my window right now as I type this. She's calling my name. Telling me those hikers need help. Telling me I could save them if I'd just follow her voice, break the rules just once more. The thing is, she sounds so real. So alive. And I'm so tired of being without her. I don't know if I'll wait until first light. God help me, I don't know if I'm strong enough to follow the rules anymore. If I don't come back, if they find my truck with the door open and my flashlight on the ground, tell my sister I love her. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her that some rules exist for a reason, but sometimes love is stronger than survival instinct. Tell her I finally went to bring Sarah home.